But what I've heard is that all of your children, what I've heard is that that legacy is going down. That all of y'all have said that your children have a gift, right? All of you. Not one, not two, all of you.
Both of my
right?
boys, yeah.
And so you're continuing to pass that legacy down, right? And so I'm going to segue here, speaking of legacy. So the legacy, the state has decided to recognize, blues as a natural resource, so to speak, in the state of Mississippi. And there's blues tourism and blues heritage and whatever. How do you feel about the blues tourism and blues heritage as it's celebrated or as it's done at this point in Mississippi? What are your feelings about that?
I feel that it's a very important part of our culture here in Mississippi, and I feel that it does need to be taught. My father as well went into the school system, and he would teach children in the schools. They had a grant for him to come into the schools and teach children music. So as far as blues tourism, I feel that it should be taught. It's an important part of our culture, and it's something that's there, and I feel like we should keep it going.
Anybody else want to say?
I feel like that the tourism hasn't done enough for the black artists.
I can agree with that.
I feel like that it should be more done. I had to fight for almost 5 years to get the cemetery where my ancestors are buried, a cemetery that's over 300 years old, go back into the 1500s, where Tommy Johnson is buried, because mind you, he was born in 1896, and they had all types of roadblocks up to keep me from being able to put a headstone on Tommy Johnson's grave. Tommy Johnson laid in an unmarked grave for over 50 years. And then once we did get access, I had to remind you now, I had to fight in court to get the easement, because they said that it returned back to the landowners, which wasn't true. We could have had been in there, but we didn't know that until I started doing the research. Okay, we got a headstone through the Mount Zion Memorial Fund in Bunny Ray. Okay, so
and let's give it up for the Mount Zion.
Doing the work. And then after we secured the headstone stayed in the library in Crystal Springs for almost 10 years.
Get him over to me.
So this has been 20-some odd years of fighting, and then 20 years of forming a foundation that has gotten a highway through the city limits of Crystal Springs, 11 miles, named Tommy Johnson Blues Memorial Highway, amongst other things. So I feel like they haven't done enough for this project, because after the headstone was knocked down, torn down.
But it sounds like everybody else is agreeing that in general there should be more.
It should be more.
Yes.
It should be more. It should be much more than what we are receiving. Especially if it's a state historical site, in which the cemetery is a state historical site, 300 and some years old. Some child is in history, and our university want to know that.
Yeah,
that's factual. So these are things that I feel like that tourism needs to pour more in to the black artists and their legacies in Mississippi, because the back of the music is on the black artists. Come on now, most of them are from Mississippi. Some kind of way they got ties to Mississippi. Although they wind up in Chicago and all of these other places, they originated in the soils of Mississippi somewhere.
Alabama. The Delta, Memphis, Chicago, St. Louis.
So I feel like that we should get some of them $800,000 grants, some of them $400,000 grants. And I feel like that the cemetery is of great significance. It's got World War II veterans buried there. It's not just about Tommy Johnson. Prince, grandmother's buried in that cemetery where Tommy Johnson is. Prince, Purple Rain, Prince. Mr. George Washington, a pillar of a big whole community in Terry, Mississippi, is buried in the cemetery where Tommy Johnson is buried. And nothing has been done in the last week. We got the money, got approved, got the road over, but they gave us a gravel road. You go in there, you get stuck, just like before. It's been 13 years since we opened the road, took this headstone to the cemetery, and tourism hasn't given us a dime to finish the project. So these are the type of things that I'm saying that not just because of what I'm doing, but just like Mary and what she's doing and what has happened to her. You know, and just like you and what you're doing, like what you're doing. We need more money so we can put in more resources so people can be informed and learn about the history. It's so many things been written wrong. We got to write it, because if we don't, it's going to get left out. And we are the only one that can really tell the truth.
If we don't care, nobody else will care.
Nobody else will care. We the only one that can tell the truth.
That's all.
So I feel like they can do more.
And you guys are the only ones who can tell the stories. And so what we're, I have one more question, because he's looking at me, Dr. Which called back there looking at me like, okay.
You were saying the tourism. 9 times out of 10, when you grow up, you go on tours for the tourism. It needs to start in the school. We ought to be able to get more grants so we can do the blues, and we call it blues in the school. That's exactly what we call it, blues in the school.
Exactly.
And they're so busy trying to take funding away from us as far as music and arts and this, that, and the other, and placing that money somewhere else. But what they don't realize, children, you have to start with children, like you say, train up a child. You know, instead of taking the music from the schools and the art centers and this, that, and the other, you know, give us more money so we can at least instill in them some of the stuff that they need before they get grown. Because we do tours when we're grown. We go on trailways when we get grown. Children want to know. I have a 5-year-old grandson. He came in the other night. He said, "Grandmama, you know Ray Charles?" And I'm like, "Boy, you in kindergarten. What you knowing about Ray Charles?" Now, I keep turning on YouTube to pop out, you know. And he went to telling me about Ray Charles. So, in other words, somebody in that school said something. It wasn't me. I teach over in that school, but it wasn't me. He ain't kindergarten. You see what I'm saying? And like I'm gonna tell you, when I taught this past year, it was in other schools. I never did make it to the school in my backyard. And he goes to school in the backyard. But somebody said something about Ray Charles. No, he came home. He came home. Grandma said, "Where you want that at?" Excuse. So somebody that said something. They need more funding for these schools. Yes.
Because they're getting in high school, learn how to play instruments.
That's it.
If they start in
it.
elementary school, because they need music in elementary school. We used to have them in elementary. That's why I learned how to play the piano in elementary school.
I went to a class, and I asked the students, did they know what a record was? A record. And one of the boys said, "Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is." And I said, "What is it?" He says, "A song." I said, "A record is not a song." And guess what that little boy was saying? He was so serious. But y'all remember that song? I got a record that I wanna play about this woman. And that's what he thought it was. So what I did was I took my record player and my Michael Jackson and put it on, and they couldn't believe it. This is a record, baby. This is a record. But he was so serious. Poor thing was so serious. I had to shoot him down.
At least he didn't say it was pulling cars. He thought it was a record. Pulling cars.
But passing that legacy on and taking them through musical history, right? Because with the record player and whatever, the technology of it has changed. I remember being able to go to the head shop in Montgomery and buy records.
Yes.
Right? 45s and
33s,
right? And I've gone from 45s and 33s to 8-track, to cassettes, to CDs, to digital, right?
Yeah.
And so this, you know, we've gone the entire spectrum. And so I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. if you had just one thing to say to folks who are, don't really know about the blues, and just to, if you can crystallize your legacy or the legacy of your ancestor, what would it be? One thing. Quickly.
Read.
Knowledge.
Listen.
Oh,
But before you wrap this up, let me say one thing. We're talking about how our children need to learn, how they need to get it. It's like my children. I sang. My grandmother sang in the house. But I'm gonna give you this little. They didn't like anything. All they liked was rap, 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 rap. So I did this little thing with my kids. I said, you like rap? You get angry, you get mad in here, you write your music down, write what you like. So one day my oldest son said, Mom, you got angry at us. I said, I did. Sit down. So, no, Mom, you need to write. I said, you need to write. So I wrote. I said, okay, I'm gonna write. He said, no, Mom, you gotta write a song. It gotta be rap. I'm like, look, I can't stand rap. But this is what I did. That evening, I got him. It was on a Saturday. They had all kind of little company. They were having a little party. And he said, he just wanted to talk to me. My mama wrote a rap today. I looked at it. Children pay attention. I had been in that room just right and singing, just right and singing. And one of his little friends I did passed away, Timothy. Timothy was a promoter before he passed, and Timothy said, Mama, sing your song. You got to rap? I said, yeah. He said, how'd it go? And I said, my name is Cynthia C. That's who I be. I rock this nation so naturally. Because I'm so fine, I'm so divine. I got you children on my mind. I try to take care of you like Calvin Klein. Gangriots and Gucci, you know. That's what we wear. That's where we come from. Education's good. That's what I need you to do. They were like, my mama rap for real. Right. It had a tune, but I'm just saying, sometimes you have to go to their level.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to go to their level.
Yes.
So if we start at the children's level, and we give them the music you're talking about, if we give them the stamina, if we give them the church, if we tie all this together, if we give them the education, doctor, if we give them the education about music, if you could pull all us in there on one platform and talk to a gymnasium of children, an auditorium, the Orpheum, and just talk to them and let them know how we feel and what we went through.
Yeah.
What else is there for them to do but learn?
But learn.
And go from.
Amen. Give it to me. That's it. We coming. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Yes. Yes.
And we're coming on.
This has been wonderful. Did anybody get pictures of us? I want pictures with these people. These people are
We have
picture-
pictures.
Yeah.
God knew what to put me in there.
We have pictures.
Besides the preacher.
God, put